Okay. So just a quick recap of chapter 4. The single word summary for chapter 4 was knowledge. And we began with chapter 1 with Arjuna lamenting. In chapter 2, Arjuna seems to have forgotten what his real identity is, as well as the identity of all of the others on the battlefield. And so Krishna establishes the identity as by teaching him about Atma Jnana. Then in chapter 3, in relation to the identity, what are one's duties and responsibilities? And if you perform these duties and responsibilities on the Nitya Dharma platform, then you will be happy. Then we looked at the history of the Bhagavad Gita. Of course, the Bhagavad Gita is eternal. It's knowledge that has always existed. The first person to receive that knowledge in our universe was Brahmaji. But Krishna says about 120 odd million years ago, he had already spoken this knowledge to Vivaswan. And then from Vivaswan, it came down to Manu, and from Manu, it comes to Ikshvaku. And then it is propagated like this in the Parampara system. So there is a clear lineage. And Krishna also gives us the reasons why he comes down personally: to protect his devotees, to vanquish the demons, and to re-establish dharma. And we looked at the Guru Parampara, and we said all Guru Paramparas must establish their lineage back to Lord Krishna, because Lord Krishna is the original Guru in relation to this particular subject of Atma Jnana, Jiva Tattva, Ishvara Tattva, Prakriti Tattva. All of this is actually coming from Krishna. And we then spoke about the 4 Varnashramas, particularly the 4 Varnas. Krishna says, I have actually created these 4 Varnas to cooperate with each other and work in such a manner that Krishna is at the center of any society. So in that instance, we talked about how your Varna is not determined by your birth, rather it is determined by your karma, the activities that you perform, and the guna, the guna under which you come under the predominant influence of. And then we looked at what is karma, vikarma, and akarma. Karma means performing those duties and responsibilities that helps you accumulate pious credits, the benefit of which is that you will go to the heavenly planets and live a very long life and enjoy yourself for a long period of time. The opposite of that is vikarma, which means that you are violating the rules and regulations of Vedic scriptures, for which you accumulate papa, the result of which is you have to suffer in the lower planetary systems, or you may even take birth in the lower species. And akarma means that you are performing spiritual activities for the pleasure of Krishna. You accumulate what is called sukriti. This sukriti is never destroyed. It is there eternally in your account. And such a person is experiencing bliss even in this life. And their destination is Vaikuntha or Goloka Vrindavan. So that was our understanding of karma. Now, Krishna himself says that karma is a very difficult topic to understand. It is not easy, and therefore, to understand all these topics in the Bhagavad Gita, we have to approach a qualified spiritual master who can actually guide you through life. And what are the Expectations of a disciple. First is that they have to submissively inquire from the Guru. They have to serve the Guru and they have to surrender to the Guru. So only then will they receive the mercy of Guru and also simultaneously invoke the mercy of Krishna. That means without a bona fide Guru, it will be difficult for you to understand this transcendental subject matter. So the topic of chapter 4 is spiritual knowledge actually. Spiritual means transcendental. It transcends this material realm. Therefore, the word transcendental is used. And we looked at Vishnu Sahasranam, Yudhishthir's question to Bhishmadev, Bhishmadev's response, saying that you should always meditate on Lord Narayana. That's the best outcome for all Jivatmas. And how can you meditate on Narayana? You can chant the 1,000 names. That is there in Vishnu Sahasranam. But then there's also a conversation between Parvati Devi and Lord Shiva, where Lord Shiva says, well, if a Jivatma just chants the name of Lord Ram 3 times, then it is equivalent to having chanted the Vishnu Sahasranam. And then, of course, we saw the Kali Santarana Upanishad, which says that in Kali Yuga specifically, just chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra will take you back to the spiritual world. And we concluded with the Bhajagovindam prayers, where Shripadadi Shankaracharya himself is encouraging all of us to always think of Govinda, to worship Govinda, and in this way, prepare ourselves to go back to the spiritual world. So that was the essence of chapter 4. So today we're going to go to chapter 5. So chapter 5 has just 29 shlokas. And here we go. So this is Karma Sannyasa Yoga. That's the title of this particular chapter. So this chapter is broken into 4 broad sections. We'll begin with an analogy that Krishna uses of water on a lotus leaf. But this chapter also begins with Arjuna asking a question because he's confused again. Krishna talks about the 3 doers. Krishna talks about the self-realized soul who see everybody with equal vision. And then finally, if you want peace in life, and if you want to experience peace in this life itself, what do you need to do to experience this peace? So if you use the knowledge that Krishna has given in the Bhagavad Gita and perform your duties and responsibilities in accordance with this knowledge including Atma Tattva, then the result will be peace. So technically speaking, we will be talking about Nishkama Karma Yoga here, which means you don't have any desire to satisfy yourself. Your desire is to just stay away from attachment to material things. If you're able to get to that platform, then you will achieve this peace formula. So Arjuna's confusion now is, because again Krishna has talked about akarma. So what are the results if you do akarma? Well, you will go to the spiritual world. So the question that comes to Arjuna's mind again is the same or slightly different question from what he posed in chapter 3, where he said, you're asking me to use my buddhi yoga, so why can't I just go away? Why should I engage myself in activities that prevent me from coming back to you? So here Arjuna is saying, oh Krishna, first of all, you asked me to renounce work. And then again, you recommend work with devotion. So renouncing work and working with devotion. What is the difference between the two? That's really Arjuna's question. So if you renounce work, Arjuna is equating it to the term akarma. So what is the real meaning of akarma? Does that mean if you perform spiritual activities, you can just full-time perform only spiritual activities and accumulate so many credits that you're guaranteed to go back to Krishna? So Arjuna is thinking that akarma means inactivity or no work. But this is not what akarma really means. And that's what the Lord is going to clarify for Arjuna here. So the personality of Godhead replied, the renunciation of work and work in devotion are both good for liberation. Renunciation of work means it's the sannyasi that renounces all of his identities and he doesn't interact very much with the material world. You could say that is renunciation of work. Work in devotion is also good for liberation. And the same question will come up in the last chapter, where Arjuna will seek final clarity. But of the two, which means Krishna is comparing renunciation with working with devotion. Of the two, work in devotional service is better than renunciation of work. That means Krishna is saying, abandoning your duties and responsibilities and moving into a different ashram is not as good as staying in your current ashram and doing devotional service. So this is really helpful to the grihasthas, because definitely the grihasthas cannot give up their day-to-day duties and responsibilities. So does that mean liberation is only for sannyasis? Krishna is giving you an answer in this particular shloka. Even grihasthas can get liberated. Even grihasthas who are in their family, performing their duties and responsibilities, taking care of everything very nicely, even they can get moksha. So moksha is not only for Brahmins, only for sannyasis, vanaprasthas, no. Moksha is accessible even to the grihasthas. Therefore, Krishna is prioritizing working, but doing so by also performing bhakti, which is you have to work with a sense of detachment. Is that easy? No, it's not. So here is where Krishna is going to use the analogy of a lotus leaf, and we'll look at it in the next line. Here Krishna is saying, Sanyasastu mahabaho dukkhamaptumayogataha yoga yukto munir brahma nachirena adhigacchati. Merely renouncing all activities, yet not engaging in the devotional service of the Lord, cannot make one happy. It's a very important point. If you choose to renounce everything in life and walk away into the forest, and you're doing nothing, Krishna is saying anyway you will not be happy. So Krishna is saying the only way you will be happy is if you are performing devotional service of Lord Krishna. But a thoughtful person engaged in devotional service can achieve the supreme without delay. So you and I don't have to worry, when will we take birth into a devotee family? When will we become a Brahmin? When will we have sannyas? You don't have to worry about anything. You just have to perform devotional service, and Krishna is saying you can go back to him really fast. So this is an important factor. So there is a rishi by the name Shaubari Rishi, and he was practicing intense tapas in the waters of the Yamuna river. And yeah, so there are yogis who do this kind of practices, intense austerity. So he's considered to be a Maharishi, an expert in the Rig Veda, a very powerful yogi. So for many years, he was underwater in the Yamuna river doing his tapas. And he would take a breath like once in a year when he comes out of the water, something like that, which is extreme ability. At some point in time, he cursed Garudadev on behalf of the fishes that complained to him that Garudadev was eating them up and how could they survive in the Yamuna. So Shaubari Rishi curses Garudadev that he could no longer come over the Yamuna river. So anyway, he continues with his tapas, but one day he sees fish mating underwater when he opens his eyes. And suddenly it occurs to him that even a tiny little fish, an insignificant creature, is also enjoying itself. It's not just the human beings who are unique in wanting to enjoy themselves. Every Jivatma wants to enjoy itself, and procreation is part of that enjoyment. So he decides, well, I too want to enjoy myself. I have done years of austerity. That means from years of renunciation underwater, by merely looking at two fish mating, his tapas broke. So he comes out of the water and he approaches the king. The king's name is Mandata. His wife's name is Indumati. And this Mandata's capital was Ayodhya. He had 3 sons and 50 daughters. So Shaubari Rishi approaches him because he's been underwater for so many years. His skin had all shriveled up. He was stinking. And he says, I'd like to marry one of your daughters. And the king took one look at the Rishi. He could not say no, but at the same time, he had to handle the situation in a very delicate manner. He said, whichever daughter of mine wants to marry you, you're more than welcome. So when the daughters look, he had 50 daughters, right? So when the daughters look at the Rishi, they thought, who's going to marry this old man? He looks horrible, terrible. What kind of life is he going to give us? In those days, in a Kshatriya family, the women are allowed to choose their husband. So it was not enforced on them to choose whatever the father wanted or whoever wanted. So the woman had that freedom. And so the Rishi understood, yes, they are being repulsed by my looks. So with his power, the next day he comes, he looks like a handsome young man. And now all 50 daughters are fighting with each other saying, no, I will marry him, I will marry him. In the beginning, nobody wanted him. Now everybody wants him as their husband. So the king married his 50 daughters to the Rishi. And the Rishi, because of performing austerities for so many years, he has some siddhis, It's called the Ashta Siddhis. The Rishis acquired some siddhis. The ability to just produce gold chains from thin air, the ability to make vibhuti from thin air. All of these are considered siddhis. So anyway, Vishwakarma himself comes and builds 50 luxurious mansions And the sage lives with his 50 wives. He had sons and grandsons. And as his family grew, his desires grew, and his worries also grew. The more desires you have, your worries will also increase proportionately or even disproportionately. So one day he was sitting alone, he was thinking, what have I done? So many years of intense tapas, and all of that is lost. I have to start all over again. So he had lost the power of all of his austerities simply by coming out of the Yamuna river and getting into married life. Now, we just said married life does not mean you can't achieve liberation. But he was on a different path, and therefore he decided he wanted to return back to that path of complete renunciation. So he repented. He leaves his wives with his sons, and he took sannyas, and finally he goes back to Brahmaloka. So there are many paths to go back to the spiritual world. Krishna is saying you don't have to take the tough path. God's not meant for everybody. Not everybody can become a sannyasi or a rishi or a yogi. So all Krishna is saying, you just do a little bit of bhakti and you can come back to me. Bhakti is quite easy. So how do you develop this capability? Brahmanyadhaya karmani sangam tyaktva karoti yaha lipyate na sapapena padma padram ivam bhasa. Krishna is saying one who performs his duty without attachment, surrendering the results unto the Supreme Lord, is unaffected by sinful action as the lotus leaf is untouched by water. So Krishna uses some beautiful analogies to get the point across to us in a very vivid manner. Anybody who's seen a lotus leaf has seen these globules like shiny little balls just moving about very easily on the lotus leaf. So in this case, you could say the leaf is detached from the water, from the water globules. The globules will just glide off the leaf if it's tilted a little bit. So similarly, Krishna is saying, while we are in this world, when we are performing our duties and responsibilities, we can do so without attachment. And more so, whatever results you get out of doing your duties and responsibilities, Krishna is saying, you just offer it to me. So let us say you are working in a nice bank, you have a nice job, pays you a nice salary. You are working because you have to take care of some basic minimum needs. However, you are also spending time on doing good activities. So you use the results of your work and offer it to Krishna first, and then you utilize it for yourself. Just like if you offer food to Krishna, it removes the sins, and then you honor it as prasadam. Similarly, whatever you benefit from in this life, because ultimately everything is given to you by Krishna, Krishna is saying, just offer it to me and continue on with your journey. So that means whatever Krishna gives you, you should offer it to him first as an expression of love and gratitude, and then you can utilize it. So imagine if Krishna ate away all the prasadam, rather the bhoga that you offer him, you would stop cooking because you'd think, hey, this person is actually consuming quite a bit. Right? Krishna is so kind that he accepts your prasadam with his eyes, and then rather the bhoga with his eyes, he honors the bhoga with his eyes, and you still have that bhoga available to you now as prasadam. So similarly, any activity that you perform in this life, Krishna is saying, surrender the results. Right now, he's not asked you to surrender yourself. That will come later on. See, he's taking us in a gradual way higher and higher and higher. Right now he's saying surrender the results. By the time we come to the 18th chapter, surrender yourself. Because you also belong to me. So Krishna is saying, whatever results that you get, if you offer it to him, it is not affected by sin. Just as the lotus leaf is unaffected by the water globules on it. So this is an important thing that we have to work without attachment and offer the results to Krishna. This becomes akarma. There are actually two meanings to the word akarma. One meaning is devotion. The other is renunciation. So right now, Krishna is focused on describing the meaning of the word akarma, which is equivalent to renunciation, because that's the question that Arjuna has asked. So Krishna is describing the process of renunciation using the analogy of the lotus leaf and water. So we have to work without attachment and then offer the results to Krishna, and this will become akarma. Akarma means only spiritual credits. So if you look at it, Krishna is not seeing whether you have achieved success in your work. So if you take a nice example of Jatayu, Jatayu wanted desperately to save Mother Sita, but he could not. He tried his best to offer his service to the Lord by trying to rescue Sita Devi, but he was not successful. But what does Lord Ram do? He gives him liberation. So Lord Ram did not assess Jatayu on whether he was successful in his service. Lord Ram simply accepted the mood of service of Jatayu and gave him liberation. So again and again, Krishna is not looking for your perfections. He is looking for your desire to serve him and the sustenance of that desire to serve him. It's not that I will serve him one day whenever I want. Oh yeah, Janmashtami is around the corner. It's around about a month away. So it's not that we get to serve Krishna on Janmashtami, forget the rest of the days, and once a year you come and serve him. That Krishna will not accept. He will accept it, but that's not the mood that he wants you to have. So all of the power is given to us by the Lord to do the right thing. Right? If we succeed, it is because Krishna has given us that opportunity to succeed. And if we are in the mood to enjoy our own success, or if we think that success is ours and it's not Krishna's, then this is what causes you a lot of trouble. At the end of the Bhagavad Gita, see, Arjuna started by saying, I do not want to fight. But he ends up fighting to please Krishna, not because it made him happy. That is, Arjuna was still not happy to fight, but because it was Krishna's desire, he simply dovetailed his desire to Krishna's desire. And because he fulfilled Krishna's instructions, he will get no reactions to having fought this particular battle. So here, Krishna is saying, Sarva karmani manasa sanyasyaste sukham vashi navadvare pure dehi naiva kurvanna karayan. When the embodied living being controls his nature and mentally renounces all actions, he resides happily in the city of 9 gates. The city of 9 gates is the 9 holes in our body, neither working nor causing work to be done. So you have to renounce all actions. You have to control your baser instincts. When doing this, you can actually be very happy. And Krishna is saying you are neither working nor causing work to be done. Okay. So essentially, Krishna is saying we have to learn to control our senses. We're going to go back to chapter 3 and pick up a shloka where Krishna says, Indriyani paranyahu, indriyebhyah param manah, manasastu para buddhehe, yo buddhe paratastu saha. The working senses are superior to dull matter. Mind is higher than the senses. Intelligence is still higher than the mind. And he, the soul, is even higher than the intelligence. So there is a hierarchy here. So this body, if you look at the picture on the left, this body is like this chariot. It's just an instrument. It's a vehicle. The 5 horses are like the 5 senses. If you don't control your senses, then your senses will take you in different directions. So a chariot cannot be effectively controlled unless the 5 horses are controlled as well. So how do you control these 5 senses? It's the mind that controls the 5 senses. But then how do you control the mind? The mind is actually controlled by the intelligence. And higher than the intelligence is the person, the warrior in the chariot, which is the spirit soul. This is just a simple analogy. So essentially, there is dead matter. Then you have your 5 senses. This body is considered dead as long as the soul is not occupying it. If the soul is occupying it, then the soul is operating this body. So matter is less than the senses. Senses is less than the mind. Mind is less than intelligence. Intelligence is less than the pure spirit soul. So if we had to ask you to make a choice between a BMW or your kidneys, so certainly you will value your kidneys more because you understand the BMW is just matter. But the kidney is a functioning organ that helps you stay alive. Similarly, if we say, I'm ready to give you 2 acres of land, in return you give me both your eyes, nobody will accept this proposition. They will choose to have their 2 eyes because they understand that the 2 acres of land is just matter. So let us say you have everything in this life, but then your mind is unstable. Who would want to live with an unstable mind? Nobody wants to live in an unstable mind. So if you're given an option, you have everything in life, all the riches, all the wealth, all good relationships, but your mind is not under your control. Then again, you're in trouble. So to control the mind, we need knowledge or intelligence. And the soul is superior to all of this. When does a Jivatma experience problems in life? When the servant pretends to be the master. Then there will be chaos in your life. Who is the actual master? The master has to be the soul. But somehow or the other, the soul seems to be trapped with all kinds of different masters like the senses, the mind, and intelligence. And therefore, nobody and nothing is cooperating with each other to help the soul exit this body and go back to the spiritual world. So we are leading a topsy-turvy life. So let's go back to chapter 2 as well. Here, Krishna is saying, Dhyayato Vishayan Pumsaha Sangasteshu Pajayate Sangat Sanjayate Kamaha Kamat Krodho Bhijayate. By contemplating sensory objects, man develops an attachment to them. From that attachment springs lust, and from lust comes anger. See, Krishna has said lust is your enemy, eternal enemy in the 3rd chapter. In the second chapter, Krishna has said lust, anger, and greed cause you all kinds of issues in life. Krodhat bhavati sammoha, sammohat smriti vibhramaha, smriti bhramshat buddhinashaha, buddhinashat pranashyati. From anger, complete delusion arises. And from delusion, bewilderment of memory. When memory is bewildered, intelligence is lost. And when intelligence is lost, one falls down again into the material pool. So in the second chapter, Krishna is saying we have to control our anger. If we don't control our anger, then we will live in a delusional state of mind. So for example, if a small child has seen a brand new bike in a shop, then you know how young children are, they're always going to ask you for that again and again and again and again. And if the father says no, the child gets very upset. He may even decide, I will not live here anymore. I will not eat this food until you buy me this bike. So the son gets angry. And when he gets angry, he does not make the right decisions. So desires lead to unnecessary distress. And you feel betrayed when your desires are not fulfilled. And that's when you go into delusion. You lose your memory, and then pretty soon you've lost your intelligence. So it's actually a very dangerous and vicious cycle for us to have these desires, unlimited desires that we have that we're trying to fulfill. So sometimes people will say, we don't want to keep a Bhagavad Gita in our house because we are afraid it will cause fights in the family. Actually, it's not the Bhagavad Gita that is causing you to fight with your family members. You are fighting because you have desires. Some desires not being fulfilled, and therefore you are unhappy, and therefore you fight. So oftentimes the Gita is misunderstood. But by reading these shlokas, it's very clear to us that the Lord wants us to practice controlling our lust. So now Krishna has talked about a karma. So who are the doers in any activity that you perform, right? So if you come back to the word karma, and karma here being defined as any activities that you engage in, what is the formula here? So it is the Jiva, the Paramatma, and Prakriti. These are the three doers that Krishna is talking about. That means Krishna is telling us, you are not the only doer and you are not the sole doer. There are others who are aiding and abetting you in everything that you do. However, when the Jiva has a desire, he can use his free will to fulfill that desire. But even if he has that desire, and if he wants to fulfill it, he is not independent. He has free will, but he is not independent to fructify that desire because it is the Paramatma that has to sanction that desire. How does the Paramatma decide to sanction your desire? It depends on your past karmic accounts, what you have in the Papa account, what you have in the Punya account. Based on that, the Lord will either sanction or deny your desire. Okay, let us say if the Lord has sanctioned your desire, who helps you fulfill that desire? Prakriti. If the Lord does not sanction your desire, then you get distressed, unhappy, etc. So in this sense, there are three doers. I have a desire, the Lord has to sanction it. Once the Lord sanctions it, Prakriti helps me experience the fulfillment of that desire. So there are three doers, the Jiva, Paramatma who sanctions, Prakriti who implements. I have a desire, the Lord sanctions it, and Prakriti implements it, causing my desire to be fulfilled. So this is a vicious cycle. So now Krishna is going to talk about that all of us have Paramatma in us, but all of us don't see the Paramatma in each other. But there is a category of people, the very learned people, who are able to see the Paramatma in all Jivatmas, not just another human. So the 18th shloka Krishna is saying, Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavihastini Shuni Chaiva Shvapakecha Pandita Samadarshinaha. The humble sages, by virtue of true knowledge, see with equal vision a learned and gentle Brahman, a cow, an elephant, a dog, and a dog eater. So it's the sage that has seen that truth, the Tattvadarshi, he is called, as Krishna has referred to such a person in the 4th chapter, who are ideal gurus. They see everybody with equal vision. The external body may be different. They go past the external body and see both the spirit, soul, and Paramatma residing within each one of them. So this is what the learned person sees. But then what do? We discriminate based on external looks. And this external could be so many things. It could be wealth, it could be looks, it could be education. There are so many different things that we discriminate based on. But that's not what a Tattvadarshi sees. So they don't see whether you're Hindu, Muslim, etc. They only see what's deep within you, which is pure, your spirit soul, and the Paramatma accompanying you wherever you're going. So this chapter concludes with the peace formula, where Krishna says, if you really want to experience peace in your life, what is the formula for you to attain it? So this is the peace formula. In chapter 2, Krishna has said, how can you be happy if you do not have peace in life? So if you want to be happy, first you have to be peaceful. This is just the peaceful formula. Actually, true happiness comes later in the Bhagavad Gita. So what is this peace formula that Krishna is talking about? Bhoktaram yajna tapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram suhridam sarva bhutanam Nyatva mam shantam rachyate. A person in full consciousness of me, knowing me to be the ultimate beneficiary of all sacrifices and all austerities, the supreme lord of all planets and demigods, and the benefactor and well-wisher of all living entities, attains peace from the pangs of material misery. So this is called the peace formula. Let's look at what Krishna is saying. This shloka will be better understood when we come to the Bhakti Yoga section. So, sacrifices and austerities, yajna and tapaha. All of us have to do this. And when we do it, Krishna has already said in chapter 3 that I am the one who is accepting all of your austerities and sacrifices. So if you know this and do it, then you will do it in the right way. So in the 4th chapter, Krishna said, Janma karma chame divyam evam yo veti tat pataha. Krishna said, if you've understood the transcendental nature of my appearance and the transcendental nature of my activities, after this, you don't have to take birth again. But in the meantime, since you exist in this world and you have to do some duties, and you've been given a certain set of knowledge to execute those duties very nicely, Krishna is saying these are the things you need to remember. That whatever sacrifices and austerities that you're performing, the person who is enjoying it is Krishna, because it's being offered to him. The second thing Krishna is asking us to remember, that he is Maheshwara. He is the proprietor of all of the universe. He is the proprietor of all of the devatas. So everybody and everything is subservient to Krishna. And lastly, Krishna is saying, you must remember that I am the benefactor. Benefactor means he is the person who is giving us all of the things that we need, and well-wisher of all living entities. So these three things we can remember, that all yajna tapa is accepted by Krishna, that he is the supreme lord, he predominates all of the planetary systems and all of the devatas. He is our ever well-wisher and he is always sending us things that help us lead a peaceful life. So three terms that are used here, bhoktaram, yajna, tapasam. So he is the real enjoyer. So we may have so many friends in our life, we may have so many family members, but one by one, people leave us until nobody is left except Krishna and you. When you are in your deathbed, nobody is accompanying you. You came into this world alone and you're going to leave the world alone. But there's only one person who's accompanied you when you were born, who's going to accompany you when you leave the body, and that is Paramatma. You can't take your father, your mother, your child along with you. In the sense, the souls have individual journeys. And in those individual journeys, the only person accompanying always is Krishna as Paramatma. So Krishna is referred to as Paramatma. You'll never hear Lord Shiva being referred to as Paramatma. So Krishna Paramatma is what we say. So hence Krishna is saying, I am your only true friend because I am the only one who's going with you everywhere. The minute you turn towards me, then everything is going to change. So the Lord is our only constant friend and constant presence. Sarvaloka Maheshwaram, he controls everything as Karanodakashaya Vishnu. Everything comes from him and everything goes back into him. He is the real control. He controls even Brahmaji. Suradam Sarvabhutanam. I am the only best friend for all of the Jivatmas. It doesn't matter whether you are occupying a human body or not. Krishna is your best friend. And he's not saying only of those who worship me, become my devotee. No, he's simply saying, I'm a friend to everybody. So you have to accept his friend request. Then you can experience transformation in your life. So with this, we've concluded chapter 5. The single word summary for today was peace. So by performing Nishkama Karma Yoga, you will achieve peace in this life. Okay. So thank you very much. I'm happy to take any questions or comments.
Hello, ma'am. I had a question.
Yes.
Not relevant to today's topic, but
Yes.
regarding the 10 avatars of Vishnu, do we consider Balram as an avatar or is it Buddha? Like, there's a confusion between the two, right?
It depends on the parampara. We accept Balaram as an avatar.
If Balram is an avatar, how can he be in two forms? Because Balram and Krishna were at the same period, right? They were brothers at the same time.
Yes.
So, is it possible that he occupies two physical bodies at one time?
Yes, because the Lord can expand himself. The first expansion of Lord Krishna is Lord Balaram. The Lord can divide himself innumerous times.
So Balram is seen as an avatar before Krishna.
Yes.
And then so Buddha is not considered.
Buddha is mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam, but it is also It may not be the same Buddha as we know it in our present day. Right? It is referencing a different Buddha.
Not Gautama Buddha.
Not Gautama Buddha.
Any details on who this other Buddha is, ma'am?
That I do not know. We'll have to ask great self-realized souls who may know this. I do not know.
Okay, thank you.
Hare Krishna. Yes, any other questions? Yeah, there is a difference in how South Indians and North Indians pronounce the names of the Lord. So in North India, you will say Krishna. In South India, we'll say Krishna. You will say Arjun. We'll say Arjuna. So we should not get too caught up in pronunciations here. Focus on the message, not on the how you pronounce the name. Krishna is not giving us marks on how we're pronouncing his names. Yes, any other questions or comments? Okay, all good. All right, so we will do chapter 6 tomorrow. So please join us. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhuvi evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Gurudev ki jai, Shri Gauranitai ki jai. Thank you very much, devotees. Hare Krishna. Please join us tomorrow early so we can do one round of chanting before we begin reading. Yes, thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Krishna Mataji. Thank you.
Hare Bol, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.